It's a shocking podcast today. There's shocking information.
Yeah, because of the storm riding mount. Yay.
Well, yeah.
I'm joking. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say something nice about.
All
right.
The
well,
game.
She's sick too.
Yeah. Clearly.
All right. Well, let's get started then.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to another episode of Server Restart In. It is a weekly World of Warcraft podcast hosted by three opinionated players who like to get together to discuss their thoughts about the current state of the game. My name is Jim. I'm joined by Kristen.
Hello.
And Brian.
Mellow.
And I'm going to apologize right now. I'm sick as shit, so it might sound a little fucked up. But guys, it's fucking here. The best thing to come out of Activision Blizzard in years. Warcraft Rumble.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not that bad, though.
It's pretty fun. I mean, it's just a drag and drop, just, summon minions type thing and try to kill the other guy.
It's definitely like you can pay to win real quick.
I guess it's because you can buy packs with like the gold currency that you can use to buy more cards or something like that.
Yeah, and then you can buy anything with gold, then you can wind up buying like the daily packs that unlock, every day where you get extra experience. And even then, like whenever you do most of anything, you get like your little level up points.
Yeah.
And once you bridge that, like a 50, I think you get 50 or something like that. Then you get bonus XP on top of that as well. And so like, yeah, I don't know. It's,
an awful
don't get me wrong,
about that.
I spent like $30 on it, but
I spent $2 on it, and that's only because I do Google surveys. So I get Google Play Store credit. So I just bought like the little $2 pack at the beginning.
It is funny because you get to points where it's like, you fight for like the whole time, then you go into overtime, and then you draw, or you lose at the last second. And it's like, okay, I know I need this one incremental bump to my guys to push through it.
Really?
So you can. Oh yes, it's happened. It's happened to me a lot now. I've almost hit a wall. And so what I want to have to do is go do the quests to get extra experience, which is very small amounts of it.
Yeah.
And then so you get a little bit of experience in a random, whatever they're called, mini, and then you get the quest experience for the mini that you've chosen. And you can keep doing that, but you're like incremental over and over. So it's like it almost pushes you over there to like, hey, go buy some extra minis, with your gold, and then
push you over there.
There's
psychology that says that there's studies that show that if you buy one thing, you're more likely to buy more things in the game, and that's why they put those packs so low, is because they want to get you to purchase those. Because if you buy one thing, you're going to be like, oh, well, it was so easy and blah, 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 and it was so helpful, and I'm just going to buy another, and then buy another.
Yeah, I can totally get that.
And the next thing you know, you've spent $10,000 in a mobile game.
I don't think I have that kind of money to spend in a game, period.
But people
I bought the $20 thing whenever it popped up at whatever level, the $20 thing.
Yeah.
Because I was like, okay, that's like the app. It's like in Hearthstone. I think I bought the Battle Pass or whatever a few times over its lifetime. A long time ago was to play, I think, Battlegrounds or something like that. But at a certain point, I'm like, I know this is at least the value I would pay for the game if I'm getting the entertainment out of it. It's kind of like the general free-to-play game. If it's not stupid, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It makes sense to pay.
I am not one to talk. Look at how much money I've spent on Genshin Impact.
Genshin Impact and how much money you spent on Final Fantasy?
I spent a lot of money. Yeah, but Final Fantasy is, I definitely, I I get my money's worth in Final Fantasy. I certainly did not get my money's worth. I mean, in some cases, I bought genre.
I don't know.
And I mean, I got my money's worth in that because,
I think the fact that there's no energy limitation in the game, like you can just keep playing it.
That's a good thing.
They did a good job.
That is, yes.
They did a good job with that, yeah.
Because it's like you don't have to wait for your energy or activity points or whatever to rebuild.
Yeah.
Because they don't want you to stop playing the game.
Right. And I mean,
also too, the like when you lose, the cycle of that is so quick that it doesn't feel terrible. Like I have lost like 5 times in a row and I'm like, all right, I think I just need to like stop playing for now. But otherwise, like anytime I go through and lose, even in PvP, it doesn't feel terrible to go and try again. And so like they got something right there.
Yeah, in those situations too, where like you run into a roadblock and like you come across a hard one and it's a draw or whatever, it's like I find that for me, what it means is that I've realized how the AI or how the opponent is gonna play. Mm-hmm. So I adjust my strategy that way. I'm like, okay, well, I got to actually go this route, capture this point, so I can start, funneling things that way.
Yeah.
So I look at it like that instead of. And if my guys, I'll do some quests to get some XP on some of the things, it's like I probably need to take a better look at the.
Well, I also learned at the last minute that the top 3 minis in your little army, if you slot them appropriately for the hero, then you get, I don't know, it's a bonus or whatever. I'm not sure what it is, but there's little icons at the top.
Like they're all like undead. I think most of them are
like
undead,
it's either undead and then one's maybe flying or something like that on the one I had currently. So yeah. So as soon as I learned that, and then like of course like learning the little individual, they're very detailed. All the minis have like their own abilities, their own scaling for leveling and the additional stuff you get.
Well, not just
and
that,
then they can be uncommon. Like it's really cool.
They got voice lines. And they got little animations and stuff when you click on them and upgrade and stuff like that. It's a really polished, well put together game.
No, it's not bad actually.
If you take out the what?
Nothing.
Okay, somebody obviously didn't.
It's okay, yin and yang, right?
Like we got 2
positive, we need a negative.
She hasn't tried it yet.
I am not going to try it because I am not going to fall victim to their machinations. Like,
what are you talking about? Just don't buy anything.
Well, I mean,
you can at least just play through like level 5 and just kind of like just see.
I'm not a big mobile game person.
Yeah,
like,
I don't think it's more like, I think you'd be looking towards more like tower defense-y type games. And even I'm not like super into those either, but I actually did enjoy it.
I wish that I could just play it on my computer.
You can. There's emulators.
Yeah, I know, but I wish that they had like it already built into like the BattleNet launcher and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do too, actually.
Just
I do find it. It is nice. Like I've been playing at night when I put my kids to bed. So
I mean,
okay. Well, I was taking a dump on Friday in the middle of the day, and I tried to play it, and I texted Jim, and I'm like, I just lose when I'm taking a shit, so stop.
Had they actually done it on the launcher as well as on the mobile, I might be more inclined to play it because I really enjoy things where you can do things in multiple places. So you're playing something
you can play on a computer
in one spot. That's why I like the Switch so much. You can, play on your TV, and then if you have to go somewhere and you want to take it with you, you can take it with you and continue playing.
Well, also it kills the battery bad. I noticed, man, the first day it ate my iPhone battery.
Oh,
it's that iPhone's probably at least 2 years old or so.
Okay, that might.
I mean, it's not terrible though, but like it does. If I sit and play 30, 45 minutes, like it'll eat about 10% of my battery. So,
that's not too bad.
I mean, in terms of the day as a whole, like, yeah, I've gotten down to, like, last night I got down to 8% of my battery. That's the first time I've ever been that low when I go to bed at night. So it's
yeah. Well, I think it's neat to just kind of pick up, play a few levels or whatever, and put down. You know,
It does get
it's
addicting
Warcraft.
very quickly. It's interesting. Yeah, no, you're right, and it's got lots of little like fun, iconic things, like the Hogger, whatever dude.
Yeah,
It's not Hogger, but whatever they're.
the Knolls.
Yeah. And there's just a funny animations. It's like it's not like it's cartoony, silly, like ooh, it's kitty. I don't want to play. It's like goofy,
Sure.
kind of like Hearthstone is really. And so,
Yeah,
and
I
it's
get-
funny because when they made the announcements around stuff, I like how they grouped everything together under Warcraft.
Yeah, because it's
Within-
Yeah.
it's the Warcraft.
Because before
universe.
it, like Hearthstone's always been like, this is Hearthstone and this is World of Warcraft and this is this, and it's like, no, this is Warcraft, and here are the things that we have for it.
well, if you
Yeah.
think about it, though, really, before like Classic came out, it for Warcraft, it really was just Hearthstone and Warcraft. Like Heroes of the
Right.
Storm wasn't anything.
They had
and that's-
Warcraft
Which is
heroes
sad.
and Heroes of the Storm. No?
I know, but like Heroes of the Storm isn't solely like in the Warcraft universe. So like the only
Right.
things that really like existed in
Oh,
that
that's
universe
fair,
were
yeah.
Hearthstone and World of Warcraft. Now you got Classic. Now you got Rumble. You know,
I'm
They-
thinking more in terms of like now that we have a box of Warcraft, respectfully, maybe that expands more, right?
yeah.
Because how cool would it be to have a fucking single player game on a console around the Warcraft universe or something? It goes back to like what we're talking about, how they can improve the entire universe of Warcraft support wise, lore, right? Books, anime,
God,
other
anime
games,
would be great.
you know, something. And so, anywho,
Yeah. Anywho. No, I do. I agree. I like how they put everything under the Warcraft thing. And of course, that was with a purpose, right? Because they're trying to make that so everybody can see that even though you don't play World of Warcraft, there is probably something for you under that Warcraft umbrella term.
yeah.
You know, so join the Warcraft family. Even if MMOs aren't your thing, you know, maybe this is your thing, or maybe, you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
that was kind of.
I mean, they did have a lot of people. You know, there has been a lot of people that have like kind of like left that sphere of influence because they're done with the game.
Yeah.
But you know, they probably still have like this like, you know, love of the characters and stuff like
And
that.
the universe, and
Yeah.
and like the stories and the older stories, and I will say I still think that they made a huge misstep with Overwatch 2 not including PvE, because I am always fascinated by Overwatch. I think the characters are really cool. I like their designs. I think they're really neat. But I'm not a PvPer, and the thought of playing Overwatch in a PvP mode is no. But if they would have had a PvE mode where I could have played through as a character or whatever, I would have played. You know what I mean? And this is from somebody who is staunchly no Overwatch. You know what I mean? So I really think that they
I mean, yeah, if
could
they'd done
have-
something like Borderlands,
they could have incorporated other people. I think that limiting your game to a PvP only game, all it does is limit you. It limits the people who are going to play the game. It does not get people who don't like PvP to play your game. You know, all it does is limit it
I
to
think,
just a certain subset of people. You know,
yeah, but I mean, it's essentially trying to basically like capitalize on like the Team Fortress stuff. I mean,
Sure.
it's that kind of game.
sure.
You know, I mean, that's pretty much as far as like, or
Well,
like,
it's sad because the characters, like, even when they announced the new character, it's like, oh man, it all
That looks really
seems really
cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I otherwise don't have an interest in playing it.
No.
it was funny because I saw something earlier in the day on Friday. Was when BlizzCon started, right? And it was
Yeah.
just like apparently like the Nintendo store leaked the character before the announcement.
Awesome.
Way to go,
Oh,
Nintendo.
man.
Yeah, Nintendo's just like fuck these Americans.
They're like, fuck this other business. It's not even
Yeah.
that. It's just fuck this other business. You
like,
know?
haha, we're going to screw them. That'd be funny. I don't know. It's just.
I mean, I'm sure that probably is not what happened, but, you know.
I'm sure they got the times mixed up or something.
I don't know. Maybe it was a strategic, but I mean, Nintendo doesn't really have any, doesn't have like a horse in the race with like Blizzard and stuff like that, so there's not really anything they're going to gain from doing that, from leaking it. And
I guess, yeah. I don't know. Maybe they're upset that they didn't get to buy Activision Blizzard.
Were they trying to buy Activision?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I was just making a...
I mean, if you never try, you can't really be upset about it.
That's true. I tried.
Anyway, yeah, so speaking of BlizzCon, that was a thing that happened this past weekend. So, it was... We watched parts of the opening ceremony. Mm-hmm. We didn't watch the whole thing. Kind of got... Because
I made Jim skip through it because I just wanted to see World of Warcraft
stuff.
We
skipped over.
I know. Like, it's for some reason I thought that like Warcraft was up first.
Yeah,
and then I was like, so I was already connected, working or whatever, watching, and then I'm like,
we watched
by like an hour and a half in, I'm like, Jesus Christ, what is going on? I don't care about anything else right now.
I would have thought they would have led with World of Warcraft, but apparently Overwatch probably makes some more money, so they led with that.
Yeah.
Which,
I don't know. I think
whatever.
we started watching it. It was fine, and then we got to Phil Spencer came out and all that stuff, and
he is just all over those cons. He was at FanFest too when they announced Final Fantasy is going to have a Xbox thing as well. So that's
even if it's just for publicity.
Yeah.
I'd rather see someone that's like down in the muck in that line of work rather than in the ivory tower, if you will, right? Which is like the whole Bobby Kotick feeling of Activision Blizzard,
Mm-hmm.
But is Phil Spencer that guy? Is he down in the muck? I don't know.
He is. He's
like
over the years. He's been
guy.
well more in line of like the support of like even the features coming out of Xbox, that like for cross-platform play and stuff like that, all kinds of stuff. And so I don't know. It's definitely like more of the seems like more of the down in the muck type of guy.
Yeah, he does. He gives off that vibe, even the way he was dressed. Which.
Well, I'm sorry. The comments that he made a long time ago over Blizzard's IPs, like, was enough to solidify it for me, right?
What did he say?
He had references to something. I don't remember. What was it? Hexen? No. Hexen?
So I think that sounds right.
Yeah. There's stuff like that. And so, like, the fact that somebody is, like, and even still, I don't know, like Bobby Kotick, like he's the original. I'm going to chop all this up because I don't remember it verbatim, but OG guy, right? And there's a good chance that like a lot of those OG guys probably were down in it a long time ago, but not anymore, which makes them really pieces of shit, to be honest. But not pieces of shit in terms of like they are shit themselves, but they're just doing a bad job of connecting with the audiences that they are there to make products for, right? And so instead of it just being, here's the product I'm selling to you as a consumer, the gaming as a whole, or as an industry, if you will, is way much more personable in my opinion. And so if you can't connect, fuck you, right?
Right. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah.
So we watched all the announcement stuff, and then we went to the Warcraft one. Was there another thing that night that we watched?
We watched the Overwatch stuff.
No. Was there another video? There was the...
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't the deep dive. It was the what's next.
The
what's next.
Yeah, with that Marie, who I really liked.
Yeah, it had a couple of the people, because it had Taryn Gregory came out.
Yeah.
Because he was talking about stuff and, because they were talking about, all the different stuff, Hearthstone, and was it What's Next for Warcraft or World of Warcraft?
It was What's Next for World of Warcraft.
Yeah, so they were coming out and they were talking about all the different stuff that's coming out. And they talked about the different expansions that are coming out and how they're going to have like a cohesive story arc. Talked about some of the stuff that's coming out in like the new features that they're adding and whatnot. And I'll tell you what, it's pretty fucking insane looking. Just, it's good to have a cohesive narrative line through the next expansions. And they've already kind of laid out like the general thing.
Well, one that they can actually bind to, right? Instead of leaving, I wouldn't really call them open threads necessarily. Like they create threads and leave them, like there's a block of main story for each expansion. And then there's these underlying ones where like they continue on, right? Like Xalatath. And so it's now like, if it's their intention now is to actually bind to something, right, and tell a story for a long period of time, so it doesn't feel as smushed shit like the Jailer was and stuff. Like that's a damn good thing, right? Because imagine a 3 expansion long story that evolves around the Shadowlands and what they could have actually done in terms of like, because now they had to squish that all in one expansion.
Yeah.
And really they had to, right? Because nobody wanted to stay there forever necessarily. The way they built it, at least. They never gave themselves an opportunity to explore the things they talked about in the first place, or even in the books, like, you know. And so I hope that's the intention behind it, you know.
Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, like Xalatath left in BFA, right? Now she's coming back. It's like Vol'jin dies and the Loa tell him to make Sylvanas the thing. That gets tied up in Shadowlands, right? It's stuff like that, you know, but it's just like you beat the Legion in TVC and then they're back in Legion, you know. It's like all these things, like, they're like, well, what can we write? What's kind of still left out there? Because, like, you're right, they do leave things open. There's other kinds of story stuff that are left open. Like, you can even see it in Dragonflight to some extent. But I think in Dragonflight, it is starting to get into that kind of bigger narrative over expansions, because when we first started Dragonflight, the bad guys were the incarnates.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Razagath, Farak, the ice one, I can't remember her name anymore, and Iridikron. You know, and it's as it's going on, we beat Razagath. Iridikron basically had like a demon soul type artifact that he was sucking shit out of Galakrond with. And he noped out, which left Farak and the Winter Queen stand-in. You know,
Cream.
Yeah, Winter Cream.
Winter Cream.
And so, and then Farak is going off the deep end, and she wants nothing to do with it because it's like counter to what she actually like is fighting for. So she kind of like goes and tells Alexstrasza and joins up, like, and sticks around. So she's kind of on our side now, which, you know, a while back we talked about it, and I'm like, Farak's going to be the big bad at the end of the thing, and he is. He's the last main bad guy in Dragonflight.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, but everything else is so open. But they tied it in because the stills that they were showing of Xalatath, she was holding that disc that Iridikron was using to suck the shit out of Galakron's corpse for him. If you do the Dawn of the Infinite dungeons, you'll see that's the artifact that he's using. So they're kind of extending the main story over. You know, there's still the main local stories of stuff that's happening, but there's also this big overarching thing that's going on. So,
Do you think, like, based on what you like we know now, do you think there is going to be a 10.3?
no, they've explicitly said there will not be a 10.3. There will be at least a 10.25, maybe a 10.27, but there's going to be more story going on, probably tying up all like the main like expansion related stories that are related to the Dragon Isles that aren't going to carry over. That would be my guess. And I think
all right, well let's do some math then, because that makes it sound like they're pushing to a sub 2 year.
No, because they said fall. They said fall of 2024.
They did say fall. They did say fall, but when does fall technically start?
October, November. I mean,
is it October?
It's end of September, maybe.
In September.
So I mean, you're looking at 22 months, maybe. So they talked about, and that's another thing.
I mean, that's rough. I mean, that's rough because at this point, like 10-2 comes out what, Tuesday?
Yeah,
and we're looking at like 11 months at that point.
Maybe.
I'm sorry. Like 0.5 and 0.7 might be good filler, but it's not great filler.
But if they do like the season 4 thing, like they did in Shadowlands, where they bring back all the raids for like, I don't know, man.
It's gonna be rough.
I don't know,
because it really does leave it open for like, because 6 months from now is what, May, and then you have a 10-3 potentially, and then boom, that leads us right into.
Maybe they're fucking lying.
I hope so.
I mean, but they're smaller content patches, like the 0.05 and the 0.07s.
Yeah,
they've been pretty decent with content and story and stuff like that. It's like, it's maybe not as much like end game advancement.
Maybe that's where they open up more towards the rest of the world then, because dynamic flying starts in like 10.5 or 7.
10.25.
10.25. Yeah. So maybe that's where they start to open back up. That would be nice.
Yeah, maybe they'll add those races back in everywhere and all that other stuff.
Still a little concerned about that though, because that seems like it goes against even the pattern they've had. So it's hard to believe that. Like,
I think they didn't say that they're going to be releasing expansions fast. They just said content faster, which is what. No.
Yeah, of course, but right now their pattern has been set, right? Delivering patches, all that stuff, and so like for the expansion not to release until towards the end of next year is like,
they got to have something planned.
Yeah, wow.
To
I mean, it kind of, I'd say it violates the thing, because right back to like what, 9.3 and 8.3, both of which were long ass droughts.
Yeah, but I mean, I think if you were to look at it, like 9.1 and 9.2 probably came out a lot faster than they did in Dragonflight.
You think so? I think 9.1 we waited for a long time.
Oh, I don't know.
7?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know. But so we're within.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be negative. I just like trying to think through it. Like, I mean, I hope that the expansions are closer together, not by much, because there's a sweet spot there for sure. And if 0.2 is their sweet spot, like there's 3 raids total, right, or whatever, which I still think that whole thing, like, stop doing that completely. Like, randomly release a really crazy raid in the middle of something, or release 4 raids at one time, or I don't really care, mix it up. The predictability of it is what's annoying. It's like, it's just it's a treadmill at that point. It's like, there's nothing to get excited about. This does, like, all the big change, announcing 3 at one time, all that stuff is exciting. And so I hope they kind of follow on with, like, something a little different.
Yeah, we'll see. So the cycle is going to be interesting, because I think we're going underground to the next patch or next expansion. The one after that, we're going back to Quel'Thalas. So maybe we'll actually get flying in like Ghostlands and all that stuff, because it still doesn't exist. Then we're going back to Northrend. So, for the third one, so it's good to go back.
Was it the third one?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
The Titan Reborn or whatever.
Last Titan.
The Last Titan, yeah, that's in Northrend. We're going back into Ulduar. So it'll be interesting to see, because now you're getting kind of your persistent world where things are going to start changing to reflect stuff. So, I mean, obviously, they'll have a way to go back to the old one, but
it'll be interesting for sure.
Yep. What about that cinematic?
That's crazy.
Anduin looked like he was strong.
Oh yeah, that was rough.
Shit. I mean, that is he had that 1,000-yard stare, man.
Yeah.
Like PTSD like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
And it's just like he cut his hair, his flowing locks.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just like,
isn't it kind of like how he was saying, you know, that he doesn't like deserve the light or whatever now?
Well, he doesn't feel worthy of even.
Isn't that kind of like reminiscent of the Thrall storyline where he killed Garrosh
and the elements left him?
And the elements left him, yeah. It's kind of, you know, reminiscent of that storyline.
Yeah, I mean,
a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why Thrall's out there, is because they've both
does
had
make
that
sense,
kind of.
yeah.
Well, I guess maybe for different reasons, right? Because Thrall lost his because he used it intentionally.
Right.
Anduin, the shit that Anduin did,
I know,
wasn't even his own fault.
Yeah.
He was being controlled.
Yeah.
You know, so.
But did the light leave him though? Technically,
no. I think he just.
Or is it just
feel
like
worthy of it? Right.
Yeah.
Right. I don't think the light has left him. It's just, you know.
He lost his connection to the light, but I think that's all internal for him.
Yeah.
In fact, you could almost say it's a war within him.
Oh no. I do like, I brace yourself. I'm going to say some positive things. This is shocking, I know. But I do like I know we were talking about it before, but the multiple X-Pack thing. Final Fantasy did that to great effect. You know, they just wrapped up a 10-year storyline. Like, all of their X-Packs were working towards this one storyline. And it worked out really well because you got to see a lot of different stories and it did not feel rushed. It felt like you got, you know, a good amount of elaboration on certain stories. You know, you didn't feel like you were missing threads or like, oh, they didn't, you know, and if they did not pick up a thread, you know that it is going to be picked up later and you can look forward to that. You know what I mean?
I think with Final Fantasy, it's that they had this kind of thing planned out the whole time.
Sure.
And that's just, it was a different style of writing. So they had this whole thing. And like, they didn't announce when A Realm Reborn came out that this is the whatever saga, you know what I mean? Which I think Blizzard's kind of trying to like shift their story writing into something more like that because it is effective. And it does keep people engaged.
Yes.
And it does tell a better story. And it prevents all these just weird offshoots and stuff like that that never get followed up.
Yeah.
So and I think that, you know, at least indicating this announcement, I think indicates that we're probably wrapping up a lot in the next 3 expansions.
Well,
mainly the Light and the Void and the Titan stuff, right? So I don't know what's going to come after that.
Yeah. But that's exciting, right? Because, you know, if they do this well, then you're looking forward to what's coming after it, right? I think that
they also finished their story in the middle of expansion too, didn't they?
Well, they finished it in the middle, and then they start the next one. It's kind of like the prologue to the next story because, you know, the next story is going to probably officially begin with Dawntrail. So they have to wrap up they ended it kind of at the beginning of the
and it's all clean up,
you know, and everything else is like tying up loose ends, and then
it's
moving on to the stuff for the next story.
I will say, as long as the only thing that like Blizzard takes from the Final Fantasy stuff is just, let's just have a multiple expansion story and keep the threads going and all that stuff, and not put in like every quest has like a fucking cutscene.
Oh yeah, I don't think they'll do that.
Because I will shoot myself.
Yeah, no. I will say, I wish that they would. I 100% wish that Blizzard would steal the duty finder, not the duty finder, but the duty support. I wish that they would put in AI so you could go and practice doing dungeons and mechanics in with an AI group rather than having to go in with regular group. And
So
I understand that it's an MMO and blah blah blah, but sometimes I don't want to. Sometimes I just want to practice mechanics on a thing, as every min-maxer knows. Positioning is key, and in order to get the most throughput or output out of your character, positioning matters. And so I would like to go and practice where I should be standing for certain mechanics, or where I should be, I really think that they would do well to incorporate something like that into the game, because it was great when they had like the in Mists of Pandaria, where you could
Scenarios.
do the endless waves stuff and stuff like that.
The training grounds, proving
grounds, yeah, whatever it was. It was great when they had that, because you could go and practice your class and stuff like that. But I think that they should take it a little bit further and, do like dungeons, so you can go in and practice dungeons and get good at those dungeons. Maybe even a Mythic Plus version, right, where it's just the basic Mythic Plus, just a Mythic 2 or whatever, which is, really nothing, and so you can practice, timing on stuff and, get used to maybe your UI if you're trying out new UI things, or, all kinds of stuff that, you can't really do in a normal one because you're screwing up somebody else's experience,
Yeah, I thought when they announced warbands, I thought that's what that was going to be.
Yeah. Jim was like, oh,
they said
they're going to do the
warbands.
AI stuff. And I was like,
And then
okay.
they said warbands, and then they said your other characters. And I said, oh my God, they're going to let us use
our other characters
alts as AI-controlled characters
How
to do things.
How cool would that
That'd
be?
be pretty badass, though.
That
yeah.
would be amazing.
Like, they'd have to probably, like, just have, like special specs and stuff like that for it and stuff like that. So, like, it wasn't, like, because...
Well,
if you,
and
yeah.
you could probably have like just regular NPCs that could supplement, because maybe you don't have a healer, or maybe you don't have
any else. Yeah,
So I mean, it's not like
that would have been fucking amazing.
Yes,
Could you
it
imagine
would.
me running around with just a bunch of Death Knights?
Oh my God. Yeah.
So
That'd
yeah,
be pretty
so
cool.
Warband is one of the new features that's going to be coming out. And that's basically everything's going to they're basically calling it account-wide everything.
Yeah.
Now, there's some caveats to it. It's not like whatever, but there's going to be a bank tab for your Warband bank that will have slots so you can expand it. You can include reagents, and then
You can craft. All of your characters can craft from that. That was pretty cool. Not that I'm a big crafter, but
Yeah, it'll be nice to have everything in one place.
Yes.
Money, all that kind of stuff. Achievements are gonna, instead of being based to the character, they're gonna be, the default will be account wide.
Yes, which is amazing.
There will be specific ones that are character specific. So like PvP titles, I think.
Sure.
Like, because that character earned it, that kind of stuff. So solo achievements or character specific achievements are going to be the exception instead of the norm now, which is good. They said the renown and reputation for War Within will all be shared across the characters, and they're going to be working on making that retroactive, starting with Dragonflight as a priority. So it's not going to be initially probably there for everything, but at least as far as the most current one is, it'll be there. And that's kind of, and that's kind of a thing so that they can make it so that you don't feel like you have to like do it all over again on another character.
Yeah.
Your character will have access. You don't have to earn recipes 8 times. You don't have to unlock that. You don't have to do whatever attunements. Like, I guess there's not really like attunements anymore, but
Yeah.
It's like, that's awesome. And I think that there's going to be, in content, there will be warband, like bind on equip loot that you get. It's personal bonus loot. And it'll be something like, if you're a plate where it'll be like cloth or like a staff or something.
How
like
about that transmog stuff?
We're not there yet.
Oh, okay.
We're still talking about warband.
I know, but that ties kind of into it.
Not yet.
I'm so excited about that.
And maybe it does tie it. I don't know. But and so like it's slightly less item level. You can drop it in there. Another character can grab it out of the bank, use it. It's a good way to kind of like boost your things. So yeah. So the transmog stuff. Now, transmogs are account wide already, right? But you can only learn specific transmogs on a character for stuff that character can equip. Not anymore. Now you can have one character that can learn all the transmogs, even if they can't equip it. And so you can farm stuff on one character and not have to go through it like on 18 different characters or 4 different characters.
So much better.
So
much better. I just like what you were talking about before, with the account wide stuff. Now you can choose the character that best fits the situation instead of choosing like your main character all the time, right? So maybe a bunch of people are going on alts to get an achievement, and you're going on your main character because it's the character you want the achievement on, but or the character you need the achievement on or whatever. Now you don't have to worry about that. You can just go on, you can go on an alt too, which is nice.
yeah. Have you seen the character select screen, Brian, the new one?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
It is really cool.
And that ties into the warbands too, because your character list is now the warband character list, so it's all your characters. There is no more changing realms to go to your other characters.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
They are all in that list. It'll tell you what server they're on. So, but with the other thing that they're adding is like the cross realm guilds, meaning that you're not tied to just like your battle group or whatever anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I know they need to fix the queuing.
Please
The
fix
cross-faction
cross-faction queuing. Like that.
For Dungeon Finder and stuff.
terrible.
That needs to be fixed. It definitely does. And I would assume that that's on their radar. They haven't specifically
They
mentioned
haven't
it.
said anything about
But
it. Which
maybe
makes me
it's
think
a more
not.
difficult problem. Well, just because they didn't say it doesn't mean they aren't looking into it. Maybe they just don't have an update on it. Because maybe it's a lot more difficult than...
Sure, but then say something. Hey, this is difficult,
Yep.
but we're looking at it. You know what I mean? Like communication, so people aren't just literally sitting there like, this sucks. Like I switched my character over and the only thing I can do is mythic pluses and raids with my friends. I can't queue for time walking. I can't queue for regular dungeons. Can't do any of them, can't.
Yeah.
That
They need
sucks.
they need to fix that, and hopefully they fix that sooner rather than later. In fact, maybe I'll go throw that on the Q&A stuff. Yeah, I'm sure it's on there, but
I don't know.
the you're not the only person that wants this. So
I
yes,
don't
I can
know.
almost get. Oh my god.
I don't know.
Yeah, you are a unique flower who
I
is the
am.
only one that wants this.
I am.
Everybody else, especially me, doesn't want it.
You don't want. You only play Gal.
Exactly. I don't want cross faction. I'm Horde all the way. In fact, I'm Sylvanas all the way, so much so that I leveled my Undead Hunter that I started in Exile's Reach, and went and did the Sylvanas Loyalist stuff so that I could do the Heritage Armor quest so I could actually see that fucking additional quest for the Loyalist where you get the message from Sylvanas from the Shadowlands.
I thought you did that on Gal.
Oh.
You can't see it because he's not Forsaken. It is Forsaken only.
Gotcha.
He's unforsaken.
Unforsaken.
Unforgettable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so the Warband, the screen, you can pick 4 characters to kind of be like in this camp environment thing, which is pretty cool. I'm like, could they just put them all in there and I could just have like all DKs in there? It would be fucking hilarious.
It would be pretty cool.
Well, I mean, you can have just all DKs in there.
Yeah, but it
just
wouldn't
those
be
4
all
of
my
them.
DKs.
I know. It's good, though, because you can get your like, best transmog characters and have them all hanging out at that camp. And
Can I just
know?
put my main character in there 4 times?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, could I just put all 4 druid forms on there?
That would be cool.
That would be cool.
I don't know if they're in the forms though.
No.
Yeah. And speaking of Death Knights, there's a new allied race, the Earthen, which is the new faction, which are like basically like stone dwarves but taller. And so there's 3 types of them in the game. They all kind of protect the thing that goes to the core of the planet. But the nice thing is that once you hit level 80 and complete the main storyline, they're unlocked. No rep grind, nothing. And so they can be Hoarder Alliance.
But
And
they
they
can't be
Mhm.
druids.
They can't be druids, demon hunters, or evokers, but they can be Death Knights. So I'm going to have 2 more Death Knights to level.
It's so
I
weird.
think they would fix the can't be druid issue because one of the issues, I'm sure the main issue with druid is it's labor intensive because they have to make all the forms, right? I think that they should just have baseline forms going forward for them so they're not, because people don't necessarily use those. I mean, with all the forms that are out there, you don't have to use, I don't use the baseline ones for my race. I use the glowy ones or the blah, 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 or the, fire kitty or, steroid bear or whatever. I use those. I don't use the baseline ones. So
I don't know what to tell you.
having, like maybe make the Legion ones, the normal Legion ones baseline for everybody. So that way everybody can be druid. So I can have a druid, a druid group, like Jim has his Death Knights. I could have druids,
Does a druid make sense for an earthen though?
I mean,
Does it
Or
make
is that
sense
is
for
that
a
argument
Death
out the
Knight?
window?
does it make sense for a Death
I
Knight?
mean, no, but it's closer.
I
I
mean,
mean, Death Knights can make more Death Knights. I mean, I can make them. I'm the Death Lord.
druids, or you can learn. It's not like you're a druid from birth,
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't know why. I don't know why the choice was to not have that. Maybe it's because they're based on dwarves, and dwarves can't be druids. So, like, maybe it's just all, like, they just, like, inherit from dwarves.
Are the earthen the ones that like haven't been burdened with the curse of flesh?
Correct. They're Titan forged.
Hmm.
And so, like the kind of like the ones in Ulduar and all that stuff that you fight.
Right.
Oh, and then the is it the Arathor? The
Oh,
human
yeah.
faction?
Wrathy?
the Arathi.
Yeah, the Arathi. They're from the kingdom of Arathor, which
Yeah.
I had to go look that up. I'm like, I know Arathi Highlands, but what am I missing here?
Did you
What
not ever go into that the ruins?
I had to refresh. I've been all over that place. I just had to refresh and figure out where they fit in and stuff. And it was the first human kingdom before like the Alliance ever existed. It was
Yeah.
like
Huh.
it was a bunch of tribes, and then Thoris.
Somebody said last night I was watching that Anduin's bloodline is like
Not
Arathi.
no, it's not. Lothar
okay.
Anduin was.
Well, yeah.
Oh.
He was the last of the bloodline.
Mm.
So So what it was Anduin's not,
Right.
because Rin is not part of that bloodline. Part of the noble bloodlines, at least. I mean, most humans probably are, to some extent,
fair.
in that
Okay.
area. Like, they're all from that same area, but it was a bunch of the tribes, and the guy went around conquering them all and gave them the choice to join them, and they did, and they formed the kingdom. Stromgard was the capital and all that stuff, and then they eventually left. So a bunch of them went south, some left and formed Lordaeron. There used to be some in Tirisfal Glade or in Silverpine and all that stuff, and eventually it just kind of collapsed. There are no more of them left, at least none of the noble lineage. And it was Anduin is named after Lothar, right? Anduin Lothar?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or Lothar, yeah. And he was the last one that was descended that could trace his bloodline back to that, like, nobility stuff from there. But yeah, so it's like that was before the first alliance, before the orcs came and all that stuff. I mean, it was like 1,000 years ago. So this is just some remnant that's been trapped down there for who knows how long and stuff like that. So hundreds of years? I don't know. I don't know when. I don't know the exact timeline. I think it was something like 1,000 years before the Dark Portal. BDP, I think, is what the thing was saying, when like the kingdom existed. So yeah, no, it was interesting, and it's interesting that crystal that's in there that lights that area, and then it's been turning purple. It's like the only thing I can think of is that stupid fucking Naru shit. Because they use like holy sacred flame and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And the
Like
crystals.
that's the fucking light, and it's just like, it's a big crystal, which is like, yeah, there's a Naru in there and it's going through its shadow cycle or some shit like that, or it's being corrupted. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That really feels like that's what that is. So, lots of interesting things coming up. So, one of the things that they're adding to now is Delves, which is a solo through 5-player experience, role agnostic. You find an area with a fog door, and you kind of just walk into it. Now you're in the delve. So it's not like a loading screen or anything like that, which they're getting pretty good now at doing those transitions without actual loading screens, which I guess Zerlac Caverns was the initial one. And that's the system they're using between the zones, so you can fly. So yeah, Delves, like the first season will be Bran Bronze Beard will be like the NPC that goes with you in there and stuff like that. It says they're like 10 to 15-minute adventures, and there's different things. You can either like kill things or solve puzzles and stuff to get to the treasure at the end, kind of thing.
I'm glad that they're iterating on scenarios.
Yes.
Because they put scenarios in and they never did anything with them. And I'm sure that is, that was their baseline. And then they wanted to keep going with it. So I'm glad that they're doing that.
Yes, this is a very good iteration on it. It's like a combination of scenarios and islands, and I don't know, was there something else that was kind of similar? Scenarios and islands.
I think so.
No, Torghast and because it's gonna be kind of like Torghast, I think, where there might be difficulty levels, as well as what was the other thing I was gonna say? I don't remember. Fuck. Shit,
fine.
I just had it. But yeah, like all these like other systems, so it's like things from those that are kind of brought in, and there's going to be 12 available. I guess there's a secret 13th one somewhere that nobody knows about right now. And they'll have several difficulty tiers. And so with that, though, they're also removing PvP from the Great Vault track, for its own reason. And they're adding a world track, which will include delves. It'll have other outdoor objectives like world bosses and stuff like that. And it says it'll be potentially reach the level of heroic rating or close to Mythic 15 dungeon range. So, fairly decent high-level stuff. You know, not quite as high as if you were doing Mythic rating or plus 16 plus keys, but that's still a pretty good. That's actually pretty good for people that don't do that higher end content, you know, to get at least able to do something like that. There's a bunch of hats that you can get from it. Mushroom hats, some cobalt
candle hats.
Cobalt candle hats, yeah. And then like some skeleton fish hats. So that's fun. And then there's the mount. So apparently there is for the season, one of the season reward is a mount. Or let's see.
Oh yeah, customizable mount.
Yeah, it's like a flying airship, so you can get like a different nose or sides or back or top and all that stuff. So that's
awesome.
It is. It's pretty cool. It's basically just like a buggy that you can just put different parts on and it flies around. So that's pretty cool. I like that. I think delves are going to be fun, especially because they're solo. You know?
Well, they can be.
Or they can be, right? And that was another thing too they talked about with the warband stuff. As you've improved Bran, that's for all your characters. So you don't have to worry about building him back up on a new character if you don't, you know, if you decide to do that with a different character, you know. So that's part of that nice thing. Hero talents. So we're going from level 70 to 80, starting at 71. New talent tree is choosable, shared between 2 specs. So, in the case of like, you pick one or the other, and so each spec has 2 to pick from, and each one of the hero talents is shared between 2 specs because it'll affect or empower abilities in either spec. So it's a way to give you either some new talents or to update some talents or kind of rework them. You know, they talk about like druids have Elun's Choice or Keeper of the Grove, you know, which are some where's that? There was a picture of it. All the different classes. Let me see if I can find that, because that's some pretty cool shit. Which it is not 100% set in stone, but it is. It's a pretty good list so far. You know, here we go. So all of them have 3, except for demon hunters have 2 and druids have 4. So it's just like normal things. But so, you know, druids have some pretty neat ones. Ooh, Druid of the Claw. That's probably for Feral. Probably share between Feral and Guardian. Windstalker, Elun's Keeper of the Grove. Death Knights are getting Rider of the Apocalypse, which sounds interesting. Sand Lane, which is the vampire stuff, and then Deathbringer. So
I really think they should have got Necromancer.
Yeah. Warlock.
I thought that would have been a...
It would have, and I'm glad they didn't give it to Warlocks.
Yeah.
Warlocks are getting Soul Harvester, Hellcaller, and Diabolist, which is there's some like images that get evoked with some of these. You know, it's like it's pretty freaking cool. Warriors get Colossus, Slayer, and Mountain Thane, which I mean that sounds so badass. But yeah, and it's like you get 10 points in it. There's 4 nodes in them that are choice nodes. All the rest are just put a point in. So like as you level, you get it. By the time you hit max level, you got them all spent. Doesn't matter what order you spend them in. At max level, you have the option to collapse the list because it'll be in the center between your spec and your talent, or your class and your spec talents. You have the option to collapse it to just the choice nodes. So you only see like the 4 nodes that you can change. So you don't have to look at everything else if you don't want to, which is a nice little UI feature, you know. Not bad. So we'll see how that works. They're just like regular talent points. You can swap them wherever. whatever that you can swap talent points now. So it'll be pretty cool, I think. Although they haven't said what. Oh, I guess Earth and a race, not a class. Never mind. Dynamic flight. So we all knew dragon riding was an experiment, right? That it was a feature for the expansion. We weren't sure if it was going to stay there, if it was going to bleed out into the other world. It kind of did bleed out into the old world with some of the races in Kalimdor and Eastern Kingdoms. But other than that, you couldn't use it. Starting in 10.2.5, I believe dynamic flight's going to be introduced. Now, dynamic flight is essentially the same thing, but it'll be available. It's basically dragon riding for a lot of flying mounts in all flyable areas. So not everyone, because this is probably the reason why it's taken so long, is they had to do all the animations for these mounts. So they've done several hundred of them. I think over 300 is what they said of flying mounts will be added to this. So you'll be able to use those as basically dragon riding mounts. You will be able to toggle between regular flying and dragon riding or dynamic flight, so that you can do like the old school, what they're calling TBC flying or dragon riding. And then in the start of the expansion and in the new zone, you will only be able to use the dynamic flight until you finish the campaign at max level, right? So once you hit max level and complete the campaign, you automatically can unlock normal flying. So that's like, you don't have to, there's no.
What makes normal flying such a.
If you just want to sit there and hover away out of things.
I like when I'm gathering, I much prefer normal flying to dynamic flying.
My question was like, why would they block normal flying until the end?
They're not blocking it for as long because the way they're building this is like they want.
I understand that, but why block it at all?
Yeah.
Like, what about normal flying needs to be blocked at that point?
Yeah.
There's probably certain things that they want you to like to maybe be like a slight challenge to get in the beginning. Like, I don't know.
Stupid.
It doesn't matter. It's not going to be as long for regular flying for it. So, I mean,
I don't know. I mean, unless they're going to start over like the 6 tiers of vigor thing again, because
here's
the beginning of
they are changing.
Dragonflight was challenging whenever you didn't have that.
So they're not starting that over. They're also changing how that works because they don't want people that start. So like you're going to gain things as you level, I think, for new players in Dragonflight if like they start. So the glyphs are going to be going into an evergreen state, so that you don't have to go back to Dragonflight to get ones that you've missed. So you don't have to do that to unlock them. Some abilities that players have collected from their adventures in the Dragon Isles may be restricted to the Dragon Isles, but base abilities like increased vigor will become a part of how Dragonflight works and will be available as you level up. So you're not going to have to do things to get it. You'll just get it as you level. They're trying to make it, I don't know why they would.
Yeah, I mean, it just seems odd to block that out, yeah.
But I mean, but they're not, at least they're not making it the end of the expansion like it has been in a lot of other ones. You go back a couple ones, you couldn't fly in any of the zones until the very end, and they're not locking it behind Pathfinder stuff, so no more rep grinds for it. Now it's just hit max level and complete the main story at that point, and you're done. And that should be shared across all players, I would assume. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know if that it would be shared or not. But new battleground.
I mean, the theme is everything is shared, right? So I hope so.
I think I'm worried about Druid flight because I think that they regret Druid flight forms, and I think that they're trying to
I don't think so.
get rid of.
No, because they're changing evokers or Drakthir.
To do
So
what?
their soar ability is going to be dragon riding, which means they still have to use it to launch and all that stuff. So they might not have a mechanic yet for using druid forms in that yet, but it's probably coming.
What do you mean? They're
Right now, soar, you can get up and you can fly for. Have you on a Drakthir? If you soar, you jump up and you can fly for a little bit, and it's not as robust as dragon flying. You can't do as much, and it's only lasts for so long. So eventually, you come down.
Right.
Whereas turning it into a dragon riding type thing, so it's like a flight form. So they'll be able to launch up and then do like...
Yeah, but they still are on cooldown. Their soar ability is still on cooldown.
They're changing it. I don't know if it's going to be on cooldown or if it's going to be... They are adapting it so that it is a dragon riding flight form type thing. So that leads me to believe that they would be incorporating druid stuff at some point. Now, I don't know how they're going to do for like two-person mounts. If they're going to allow that, that would be interesting.
You spin forward and the other person flies off the back.
You eject them. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Did you see the new spell book?
Yeah.
I like
interesting.
it's
Cool.
It's so much better than they just having like 8 abilities on a page, and they're moving it into like the talent UI, so it's already wide. So it'll be nice, and you can hide passive abilities if you want, so that'll like shrink it down even more. So
Really? I didn't see a part. Yeah,
there's a checkbox at the top that says hide passives.
that's awesome.
Hi, passives. How you doing?
Hide. Oh my god. If I wasn't dead, I'm dead now. Yeah, so there is a lot of changes coming with an interesting story for sure. I mean, we'll see how it kind of plays out. You know, it was kind of weird though that they were hearing this voice and they didn't just immediately go, "Oh, is that Azeroth?" Like,
yeah.
I mean, was it though?
I mean, it's
It's really.
it could be Xalatash.
It only spoke to Magni, didn't it?
Well, it never actually spoke. When Magni describes it, he talks about it like it's like a vision of like visions and like song and stuff like that. It's not like saying, "Hey, Magni, I need you to do this." You know what I mean? It was kind of more like an emotive, like an emotional connection type of communication.
See the part where I don't remember the guy's name that was speaking, but it was during the
champion. Somebody shouted out.
Yeah,
about
that was yeah.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
That was really good.
Did you see Ian's shirt that said "What sword"?
What sword? I thought that was amazing. I was like, oh my god, thank you for acknowledging. You know,
He's been saying "What sword" for a long time.
No, I know, but I just think
it's funny that they can keep poking at it.
Yeah,
and it was.
I like that they poke at that.
Yeah,
you know, because they don't take themselves so seriously.
It's crazy to think about how when we started this podcast. Just like how shutting everything down Ian was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was just like,
yeah,
you're not getting classic. You think you do, but you don't.
I was going to say, you think you do it, but you don't was their philosophy. It felt like,
and
you know?
it's just, you know, everything was just like, you're not doing this. It's like, we know what we're doing, you know, and all this stuff. And it's just crazy. Just the tonal shift from the WoW development team in general.
You have to know though, like that's a top down thing though. That's not like these,
I'm sure.
these middle people don't go out like deciding that they shut things down. Like
Right.
people are telling them to shut things down. So
Yes.
I know, and I'm sure that he was basically told, and I'm sure like the "you think you do but you don't" thing was probably him trying to.
but that wasn't him though.
No,
That wasn't him.
oh no, you're right, it wasn't.
No, that wasn't him. No.
But some of the wording you think, right? It's like, okay, you say it's like, nope, deny this, and there was probably some poor wording choices on that. Instead of just being like, look, we don't think that that's a viable thing for us to do at this point in time. We're not going to do it. And you can always tell it really started at BlizzCon line, right? When like that was kind of like the first thing when like cross-faction guilds came up, and all of a sudden Ian wasn't like, yeah, no, that's not going to happen. It all of a sudden was like, it was almost kind of like, you know what I mean? It was like, it just felt like the walls had cracked, and like now, like all of a sudden there's flexibility there.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah.
is good. I think that, and again, it's hard to sift through all the feedback from millions of people, right? I mean, I don't know how much feedback they get, how much they look at it and all that stuff, but they get some, right? I'm sure they get a lot of feedback. And it's really kind of hard to sift through all that stuff and really figure something out that's tenable for everybody. Which then I
Right.
think adding delves is a good way to add another end game pillar that's not based on solely group content.
Yep.
Because you can do that by yourself.
Yep. So even if your Mythic Plus group doesn't meet for that week, you can still do something and still get
Right. Or if that's just what you want to focus on, you can focus on that and still have a pretty healthy end game experience.
Yeah. Yeah.
And again,
I mean, it's not quite as end gamey because, like you said, it's only going to go up to like Mythic 10, 15. So, if you're doing stuff that's higher than that, it's not, it will probably be okay. I wonder if that stuff can be added to your Warband vault.
No, that stuff, I don't know if that's going to drop from the vault. I don't think you're going to be able to get stuff from the vault.
Because I'm like, because maybe you could use that as an alt. Like maybe you get something good that you can't use on your main, but you get it as your alt.
So you know how you can take tokens?
Yeah.
Unless what they do is they give tokens to allow you to buy a piece of gear, like a slot gear that you can, that is warband, right? And but you can buy a set of warband bracers that is like, click to turn into an item for the appropriate thing and put it in there. And then you can gear up alts that way. And it would be, obviously, I don't know how you tone the level down for that.
Sure.
To be appropriate, but.
Oh, I also thought of something while I'm sitting here playing because, yes, I am
God.
into WoW leveling my Shadow Priest because now alts are going to be kind of, viable. So I maybe will level some a little bit. So anyway, we bought the pre-order because that's,
Because I was not going to not.
Because Jim was not going to not, so he bought me a copy of the pre-order. And I thought of something. So the ability that is on the mount, right? Is hold on.
The new ability.
The new ability.
Yeah, the one that's for the static charge.
Is called Lightning Rush, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you fly close to walls, you get you build up static charge, and when you get to 10, then you can use the ability, right? Feels, I'm sure, great in an area where you're in next to a lot of walls. I'm sure it'll feel great in the next expansion. But right now, when you're flying in on the plains and there's not a lot of walls, it does not feel good to use that mount because you don't get that other ability, the push ahead one, the surge forward one, where you spin in a circle. It replaces that ability. I think that ability should be a utility ability based on the expansion that you're in. So that way, if you so that way it doesn't negate using certain mounts, because again,
yeah, that's interesting.
right.
So
you could if you're in the dragonflight zones, you get the surge forward spinny one. When you're in those other zones, that way it makes it more so you're not using a specific mount. You know what I mean? You have choices.
I would hazard a guess that is going to be part of the intended changes that are going to come when the rest of the stuff comes out.
I hope.
Because, and maybe not until the expansion, because that's when they're going to like redo that's going to be like the overhaul of it. Unless it's the 10.2.5 when it comes out. Like that's the whole, maybe that's when they're going to like update the system is in 10.2.5, like the whole system for everything. And add the flying switch and all that stuff, like change it from dragon flying to dynamic flying. So I would hope that would be something that would be the case, or maybe there's going to be different types of mount that have different abilities.
That's what I'm saying. I don't want that, because then you're stuck using a specific mount because you need that ability. You can use whatever mount. It's like bring the player, not the class, right? You don't want to bring just the specific one for that one ability. You want to bring
I don't think it's going to
whatever.
happen, because they added races that were specific for storm races and stuff like that. So I think storm riding is, and maybe it is. Maybe,
and again,
well,
I'm
maybe
saying
that's
that an elegant solution to that would be to base it based on where you're at.
it would have to be the zone you're in or the race you're doing.
Sure.
Because if you did a storm race on a mount that didn't have the storm ability.
Sure, but normally, the only reason I think that they put the storm races here right now is because of this mount and this time
Maybe.
before the expansion. I don't think they're going to add more storm races. You know what I mean?
I don't know.
And they don't have to. They could just add them in those zones.
Yeah, we'll see. It's again a year out. We'll see how it goes. Maybe they will, maybe not. Maybe that's something that needs to get suggested to them. I mean, guys, listen.
The nice thing,
all they have to do is listen to our podcast and fix all
right?
the problems that they have.
We fix WoW in this podcast. I don't understand why they don't listen to us. I do like, and this is from somebody who is very unlucky with any sort of beta stuff. I like that when you buy the thing, you get access to the beta. Like,
me too. I'm glad.
Because even though I don't play it that much, maybe I'll play it more. I wish I had access to Final Fantasy betas, but
I would.
I like that, because then I can figure things out. You know.
Yeah, my hardest thing with beta is like story spoilers. I hate that. I like to experience it for the first time, fresh, and not already know like what to do. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't like that. Like, if they were to just,
I don't have a problem with it.
If they were to just limit it and like, or make like beta sandboxes with placeholder stuff that, wasn't like actual things to do and stuff like that. Like, because if you want the betas to test, mechanics.
Well, it also,
and
people read through quests, people, you know what I mean? And test.
I know.
It's not just to test mechanics, it's to test,
I know.
Maybe there's some, misspellings in words, or there's blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of reasons to test the beta.
Yeah, you shouldn't be paying people to proofread your shit.
I mean, you're not.
Yeah. No,
you're getting it for free. That's why you're getting your beta people to do it.
I don't know how I feel about the 3 days early access, though. I don't think that's necessary, unless the only reason
was that only for the highest tier.
Yeah,
I think so. The only reason
I don't think it hurts anything.
I don't think
sucks,
either, because it's not like you can start rating, and so what if you get 3 extra days? I think the only reason they're doing it is to
make money.
No, do you remember when Dragonflight started and everybody
queues? And I don't think that's a bad. I mean, I think that
it's not gonna not prevent queues.
Well,
logging queues are gonna be. I'm talking about the starting.
Yeah.
Do you remember trying to get on that Zeppelin, and like the world servers were just crashing?
Yeah.
That's some of the funnest parts of it, though. Like the excitement overall, and everything's just breaking.
Even with their sharding, no, I mean, yes and no. It's funny.
We all shard, Jim. Yeah. We all shard.
Even with like their sharding and stuff like that, it still crashed. And the only thing is like we can laugh at it, but it is frustrating.
Yeah.
You know, at the time, it's very frustrating, and it's definitely a feels bad kind of thing, and it's definitely, I don't know.
Let me tell you, I'm super excited to see Xal'atath again because my Shadow Priest still uses that dagger all the time. So Xal'atath talks to her, and I love it. I'm like, I can't wait. Like my Shadow Priest is all in on that.
The void shit.
Like, oh yeah, like super, super. She is like crazy, void. So it's
cool to finally bring some of that stuff back.
Yeah.
Because it was needed. It was needed to be wrapped up because she explicitly said, we'll see you again.
Yeah.
So, and it's interesting because there's that link to Iridikron that I haven't seen anybody mention at all. And that was the first thing that popped into my head. Is when she's standing in her back, she's got that disc in her hand. I'm like, yeah, something's going on here that's linked to Iridikron because he's going to be probably involved in that stuff because, I mean, you want to keep loose ends from just like flapping around and no resolution and all that stuff. It's like whatever happened with Ramona, whatever the fuck.
Sword?
Yeah. Like they came in like the
Ramona.
Yeah. The Natharzim came and stole the sword.
Quimby.
Yeah. They came and stole the sword and that was it. So is Denathria still in the sword or what?
I mean, I feel like they liked Denathria so much that they were going to kill him originally. That's what they said. And then they liked him.
Yeah,
so
that's
much
why they put him in the sword.
Yeah.
But then they stole the sword.
Yeah.
What happened
so I
after
feel
that?
like he's gonna make a reappearance.
That means going back to the Shadowlands. Fuck that. Anyway. All right. I think my throat's been talked raw enough. I'm starting to hurt. So we'll go ahead and wrap it up here. It was a lot of good hopefuls came out of this. It's like there's a lot of like good systems. It really seems, and especially with medicine back out there, they just kind of really like gives like this feeling of confidence in what they're saying a little bit more. You know what I mean? It's like it, it really feels like they have put in a lot of effort for this. And I think that they really are working towards making it a modern game with the old flavors of WoW as much as they can and something that people are going to enjoy. So it's hard to take something that's like almost 20 years old and kind of like mold it into something new.
And has changed.
Yeah.
Right? Has changed. Now it is, before it was more about the journey. And then when you got to the end game, there was a little bit less to do at end game. It was more, it took you a long time to level. Now it's flip-flopped.
Yeah. And yeah. But
that's okay. Things change.
A lot of stuff is like that now, unfortunately. So anytime you have any type of end game stuff there, it's just how it is. Anyway, I think next week we'll talk about Classic and the Season of Discovery stuff because that seems like some interesting shit there. So look forward to that. Well, actually, we will talk about it. This isn't like saying that we're going to talk about it and then never talk about it like we do on some things that I don't remember because I forget. But we will. So anyway, thanks everyone for listening. You can check us out at facebook.com/server restart in. Or shoot us a post or tweet at
You don't even know what to say about that anymore.
Yeah, it's at.
Is it
server.
A tweet anymore?
No, they're posts.
They're posts now.
Yeah.
They're not tweets.
So it's at server_restart. Let's get some more favorite fish out there. Let's see what you guys were looking forward to in the next expansions to come. So All right, thanks everybody. Talk to you later. Bye.
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 All right, and welcome back to another episode of Server Restart In. It is a weekly World of Warcraft podcast. It's a weekly World of Warcraft. I can't hear myself.
Did you say
Warcrafted.
I don't know what it is.
Quack.
I'm having a hard time hearing. Like, it keeps cutting out in my headphones. I don't know. Anyway,
Start
welcome.
over. Sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
We got extra outro stuff.